Hey, Janice Paul. I thought I'd just follow up with a quick little video for you. And that was I wanted to share with you some of the ways that I've built curriculum in the past. How do we plan for an entire year? And so I'm going to show you the 2022 plan for Canvas. I'm just going to go away and just narrate some slides. But building, retaining and growing our best people is the number one thing that I'm passionate about. And so building development and we call it training. I hate the word training for one reason, and that is, training is boring. Training is technical training. Training is somebody standing up in front of a class and reading their notes or reading the slide. Some of the things that I've taught never ever to do, but that's what training is to me. And so, I love this quote from Alexander Der Heer. I don't speak Dutch, but at the same time, when a flower doesn't bloom, you fix the environment in which the flower grows, not the flower. And to me, that just speaks to my heart on the passion for training. And what that means is that we don't look at our people as bad managers. We look at them as how do we make them better and what do they need to grow? What nutrients do they not have from that? And so I'm just going to share, what that curriculum building looks like. We went through the survey, we looked at the data, and then what I wanted to share was how I could come up with that. So I'm a little bit old school. This is what I taught in the presentation workshop is get your sticky notes out. And so we started to think about the programs that we actually wanted to run. One of them was elevation leadership. And so elevation leadership was made for emerging leaders, curious leaders, folks that weren't leading right now but want to know what the foundation looks like. Canvas Family Welcome was our onboarding class that we did. Canvas Behaviors was something that every employee at Canvas was evaluated on and was never shared with them what they were. And so we changed that and built a course around the 10 behaviors. I could show you some of that. But I went old school and we started to actually look at the calendar and what does Q4 look like for 2022 and 2021 and take all those times where I'm going to be on PTO and where Elizabeth's going to be on PTO and when are we off and what are those bank holidays and how can we run a program, and this is you're looking at next level leadership was that advanced course, the advanced program for leaders that are currently leading, and we talked about personality profiles and difficult conversations and all of those 6 things that they need to know as a leader and how they're leading and maybe some of those things they may learn while they're not leading right now. And so I looked at the whole year and we sticky noted the whole thing. Innovation would meet on every second and fourth Thursday of the month. And so what that allowed us to do is then to start to look through our numbers and to see where Elizabeth was, what was her priority as far as training. She was going to run a credit union education program. She helped with onboarding, but emerging leaders or elevation leadership is what we changed it to. And then we started to color code things. So when I looked at the calendar, I knew that purple was professional growth. I knew that blue was leadership or was professional growth. Personal growth was purple. Sorry, leadership, lunch and learns, all of those things, and innovation was pink. So I could look real quickly then at the calendar and say, here's what we have program wise in each one of these sections. Of course, for me, it always comes back down to the numbers. How many hours of training did we do? Production hours, how many hours does it take us to build a course? Let's figure that into the calendar. And then that started to figure out what we had as far as class length. We talk about adult learning styles. Not everybody can sit in a class for 4 hours. And so how do we make the same class available in 1 hour stints? So we'd break up those ideas. 1 day sprints. I did an innovation sprint with folks that had been through the innovation program before I got there, and then my current innovation team. We did a 2 day sprint and we tackled 8 problems that the organization came up with. So I talked with our ops manager. I said, what are our 8 problems that our members were having? And so we had them all 8. They picked one that they wanted to work with, and within 48 hours, they had to present a full-on presentation of what their solution would be for that. So those are the types of fun things that you can do. You can do 6 week sprint. You could do 6 weeks, which I like a 6 week model the best. Once a week for 6 weeks. Learning starts to settle in those off times, which was kind of fun. And then how do you make it not sticky notes? Well, you bring those same things into a real calendar, and then we started to play with it and knew that that Katie and Karen were going to run the Canvas coaching behaviors on the Canvas behaviors. You could look at it from November through December, what it actually looked like, and knew how busy we were. And number one thing we didn't really tell anyone we were doing, but we ran programming Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Monday was always a prep day. Friday was always a hey, what's the survey say day? How do we make it better? What would you want to change for next week? And then every third Thursday of the month or third Friday of the month, we would do a lunch and learn on one of our topics, whether personal growth or professional growth. And so what we had then was a calendar that started to flush out like this, where on Tuesdays, I would run a next level leadership course virtually. And then the next week we would do it in person. And then the next week it would be virtual. We'd flip flop back and forth. And then Elizabeth would run elevation leadership. As a young leader, she was perfect for that. And that's who was curious about leadership. And then we could just work through our calendar and knew that at the end of the month, we had X number of hours of training, X number of times that we were doing a leadership program or an innovation program. And that didn't even include some of the things that we did. Katie came back from a leave of absence, and so we helped her run UCAN, which is our university. I know you guys have Flex Central or Flex University, on communication. How do you make your communication stronger? And so she ran a 6-week program every other week on communication throughout the summer. Tuesdays were always a good day for that, and we'd go from there. So that's just a peek behind the scenes a little bit on how I built programming before, using some of that creative skills from the backside, getting things out of my head onto sticky notes and then arranging them, and knew that my team was fresh. The team, I'm not going to go back-to-back training because as I'm a high extrovert in the room, my clients would always want to go for dinner afterwards, and I'm like, nope, I am absolutely spent. If you want the best from me tomorrow, I need to go back to my hotel and I need to recuperate and prepare for tomorrow. So we didn't wear people out, and I knew that what they were wanting to do and how they recuperated and all those things. And then, I started to break down how do we get it done. And this is one of the very first questions I asked to the small L&D team when I came to Canvas is, what are our favorites? What are our modalities that we use mostly? And quite frankly, they used instructor-led workshops most of the time. It's expensive to bring somebody to Denver, to have them stay overnight usually because I don't want them driving at 8 in the morning, to make them feel like they were a part of something is the one that I wanted to make sure that they weren't doing that. And so these were how we actually came up with some of the modalities we would take some of our learning. And then, along with those modalities comes what's the speed to launch? What can we get done in time? A brand new instructor-led workshop is fairly slow. I need to do the research. We need to vet the research. We need to all agree that this is what we should be training in that program. But taking that same course, maybe I put it on camera and we do it as a micro-learning, or we sprinkle a couple ideas throughout into micro-learning, and we go from there, whether it's a full LMS course that we run or one-on-one coaching, whatever it is. That's how we did it. There's a speed associated with each one of those. And along with that speed, again, is the difficulty of how difficult it is to move back and forth between those things. One of the things that I did for the leadership group was I interviewed 12 different leaders. So we had a new leader we'd listen to each month. And a lot of that, again, female voiced. I wanted to hear from the leaders we hadn't heard from, because we heard from the CEO all the time. I wanted to hear from leaders in the trenches. And I wanted to hear how they lived out some of those ideas that we were talking about in leadership. To cut that is it's a WebEx call, and then we would edit the audio and then send it out. The beauty of that was that it didn't cost us very much. It was pretty quick to do, and I could email the leaders that wanted it, and they could listen to it on the way home as they're commuting. It was a 5-minute. They could put it in put their earbuds in and listen to it while they made dinner for the family. All of those things were different ways to break the mold a little bit on what traditional training looks like. And then I think the last part is, what's the cost of the organization? That organizational cost can be stiff, and so coming from the outside subject matter expert world, that's an investment. Now I used to not charge $10,000, but $10,000 for a workshop, plus travel expenses for me to fly in, do the workshop, and then follow up 6 weeks later. That's expensive. But what internal subject matter experts do we have in town, in the actual building? A learning team member, not too expensive, but the learning team members over time to build a new program can be a learning, a learning expert from Udemy. You can find them. I always vetted what we actually watched from LinkedIn, and then you can also just very simply find a great YouTube TEDx talk, share that with some folks. And then one of the things that really was successful is how you build an L&D community channel, and that's active. That I can put in, hey, I watched this Udemy course. It was fabulous. Here's what it was on. You go watch it, and you build a community of learners because they're passionate about their own career. And I think that's what we really started to see at Canvas, was the passion around that. So just some more thoughts, not to make this video too long, but just wanted to say that. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for your time today. Appreciate it.